You want to have things, you want to do things, and you want to feel things. You have worked on healing yourself. You have learned everything you could about spirituality. You've learned everything you can about awakening and ascension and what everyone else is talking about, but you're still miserable, you're still broke, and you're still alone. You have tried every single strategy you could. You busted through every single scary thing that was presented to you. You followed the words that everyone else told you to do, and still nothing. Now, I would love you to stick around for the next half an hour or so, where I am literally this person I'm describing who has tried everything, who's tried to do everything, has tried to learn everything, and still ended up in a place of going, what the fuck? Why don't I have everything I want? And I guarantee you won't hear many people talk about the things that I do in the way that I do. And if you hear, well, you already need to hear it. So I'd love you to stick around. Even if you reject most of what I'm saying, it's something that you may need to hear right now. And I mean, you can even fast forward this video and watch it in 2x motion if you don't want to hear it all. More money, a perfect relationship, and a hot body. That's what most people want. We can narrow down most of the things that we want in our life to those three categories: money, love, and health, or the way we look. Now, this is what Surge is about. And whether you have arrived here because of my cryptic social media that I have been putting out there, or whether you're here for some other reason, I advertise this whole surge in a totally different way, some way that I've never done before. And I've been pretty tight-lipped about it, because when it first started to become something, it has taken on a mind of its own. And it was something that I couldn't just talk about and post and do different social media things that I normally do for things that I offer. It was something that really wanted to become itself on its own. And this will make more sense as I get through this speech. So I'm going to try to cut the fluff, which is very difficult for me because I like to talk a lot sometimes. So bear with me. I am going to give you a background story because it is an intricate part of how we got to Surge and what it's all about. But if you are someone who resonates with that person I was describing in the beginning, the one who has tried to follow all the modalities, who's done all the healing, who's learned everything they could about spirituality and still don't have everything they want, and still want money, love, and health, please stick around, because I have something so exciting that I want to share with you all. So I am going to give you a little background story, and I promise I'm going to try and make it as short as I can. But I have to start here. I have to start with the date. The date is October 7th. And October 7th for me and our family and everyone else who has been in my world knows that this is the anniversary of my husband's passing. So today, October 7th, when I am releasing this video out into the open, it's the 2nd year anniversary of when my husband passed away. And I was a little skeptical over why I was going to do this announcement on this day. And yes, I can look at this and think that, oh, you've created another distraction because you don't want to deal with that day. Because I can tell you, this time last year, it was not a fun place to be. The first anniversary of someone's passing is definitely not a fun place to be in. But this year, I wanted to try and turn that date not just into another day of feeling sad or missing someone, and in going over old memories and surrounding yourself in that pain or grief. I wanted to create a celebration of, even though my husband is no longer here, to celebrate what has happened, what has evolved since his passing, and to, even though we're still going to reflect and mourn and appreciate this day in the way that we want to, I'm adding another layer to it, because without his passing, I wouldn't be here being able to offer you this whole thing that I'm about to talk about and what I'm creating. I wouldn't have the I wouldn't have experienced the personal journey that I have. I wouldn't have learned the things that I've learned. I wouldn't be able to be in this place where I can help other people. I wouldn't be able to do the things or see the things or think the things or even know the things that I do right now without his passing. So even though this date is for him and it is a day to celebrate who he was and the time that we did have together, it's also to celebrate what we've become without him and what we've been able to do and learn and express because of what has happened. And grief is a whole subject on its own. That's another whole story on its own. And that is definitely something that I can talk about at other times. But today we're going to focus on Surge and what it is and how it may be something that you need to hear right now. Now, I want to give you this backstory, but I don't want it to be boring because I know if you watch videos, you know, you see so many people talking about stories and it's way back, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want it to be boring and not cool. So I'm going to try and give you the pieces that you need to understand this journey and where we are and where we're going. So 3 years ago, I wanted to change. I didn't like who I was and I wanted something different and I wanted more money, a better relationship, an easy life. And I even remember Googling how to be a better person, how to change who you are, how to get everything that you want. And there were two main words that came up when I was looking into all of this, and that was manifesting and money. And yes, money. Money is going to fix every single problem that you have because when you have money, you can buy things and buying things makes you happy. So off I went to go and learn all the ways in which we can manifest money. And when I learned something, like, I mean, I deep dive down every single rabbit hole, learning path, coach, teacher, mentor, book that you can think of in order to find out everything I need to know. So I started signing up for all the courses, watching all the videos, doing all the manifesting tools, and following all the right people. No money. Then, of course, the reason that we are told of why we can't or why we're not manifesting that money is because we have all these beliefs, because we have all these stories, because we are holding on to these ideas that are not ours, and because we are holding them all within our body and with our mind and within our energetic field, these are blocking our manifestations because we can't match that vibrational frequency of the thing we want. So it's like, oh, I can't find you. So we start healing. We go down the healing path. We start learning all the modalities. We start finding all the ways that we can start removing all these beliefs and all the stories that we're holding on to. Now, during this time, because I discovered this whole new world, I decided it would be a great idea to write a book. This was a brand new space for me to be in because this is when everyone was starting to become online and everyone was working from home, etc. So online was the thing to do. And of course, you can create your own book on Amazon. You can get it printed, etc., blah, 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 through Amazon. So would that not make sense for me to write a book? Now, just remember, when I started, my account was so locked down, like you could not even Google me. I created my first book on how to manifest money in 21 days. There is a picture of it that I will insert in here. You can have a look. Now, this was when I just discovered Canvas, so my graphic skills were not the best. However, because of that emotional beliefs and the lack of confidence that I had in that time period was I didn't even put my name on the book. Like, that's how much I was hiding from who I was and who I wanted to be. I created this book. I launched it. Like, this is with no training. This is with no one telling me what to do. This was without me even knowing you could go onto YouTube and find videos where people are telling you how to do things. This was me just creating it off my own bat, formatting it, everything, putting it on there, getting it out there, ready for sale. Do you know how many people I told about that book? No one. Not one person. I don't think I even told my husband at the time that I wrote a book. I just put it out there thinking, I just wrote a book. People are just going to find it. They're just going to buy it. I'm going to become a millionaire. It's going to be so amazing. Okay, that did not happen, obviously. but it was a pretty good book. It was a whole different concept of teaching and sharing the things that I just started learning, because they were fully awakening who I was. Plus, it was coupled with actual doing stuff. So it was teaching you and showing you and sharing new ideas and thoughts with you. But then there was also a part where you could actually do the things that you were doing. So it was a great idea. Now, a month after I listed that book, that was when my husband passed away. So after creating that book and then having my husband pass away, it was a whole new world of learning, because just remember, I just discovered that we need to manifest things, that we need money. Then we need to heal in order to get those things. And whether it was a full distraction from me dealing with the grief or not, I threw myself into everything, because if you've ever been married to someone for a long time, you become that person. You become one person as a couple, and your interests all just sort of melt into one, and you live this life together. And not purposely does one person's hobbies and things that they enjoy overcome or become the more dominant things that you do, but they become both your things, and that's how you exist together. That's how you plan your future. That's how you were going to do everything in the future, etc., etc. So then when that person dies, you are no longer that coupled person, which means you have to become this person by yourself. You have to become this person all on your own. But when you have been attached to that other person and you have become that one combined person, you're like, who am I? So part of that journey of not only losing that other half, it's discovering who you are. And anyone who's gone down the spirituality path knows that this is a whole process of awakening and ascension and finding out who you are. So it was a mix of both of those, of such a deep level of self-discovery that I could throw myself into millions of things. I could open myself up to so many new ideas, thoughts, hobbies, ideas. And that's exactly what I did. I had so much more time on my hands that I was able to get in and learn and try things and do things and create things and focus on my healing and focus on believing in things and just fully embrace every part of who I was becoming, who I was discovering that I was. Now, during this time, of course, because I'm doing all this new creating things, I got a little better at Canva. So I decided, oh, I know, I'm going to redo that money book again because things were happening, things were changing. I was healing, things were coming to me. I'm going to write that book again and it's going to be amazing. And all I literally I actually have it here. All I literally did was change the cover. But the most important part is I actually had my name on it. This time, because of that healing, because of losing those beliefs and getting more confidence, I was able to actually put my name on the book. So yeah, that healing thing was working, because just remember 12 months ago, I didn't even put my name on a book. I know this story is getting really long, but I promise you we're getting closer and closer to the end. So after that, with the first anniversary of my husband's passing, was the worst day of my life, hands down, and it took me to a pretty dark place. It took me to a place of saying, hey, universe, no. Even with all this healing, even with all this spirituality, even with this whole new awakening of who I am and the things I like to do and the things I'm enjoying doing and the people I'm meeting and the way I'm expanding and everything else that is coming to me, this fucking sucks. Like, why am I suddenly open my eyes to these new ideas and these new stories of what spirituality is, yet I am still feeling pain, I'm still feeling sad, I'm still feeling grief, when I'm learning all these things about being this vibrational frequency and this connectedness to this oneness and blah, 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 blah. Why does this shit still suck? So because of that and me screaming at the universe or whatever you want to believe in, it's like the universe does whilst our experience around us always comes in at the 12th hour. It did. It took me to a different place. It took me to a place of discovering something even new, because remember, I had all that time to learn. So I was learning everything about love and light. I was learning about manifestations and money and being part of the oneness, blah, blah, blah. The first anniversary took me into the dark. And I'm not going to talk too much about that. I'm sure there's other videos on there and a lot of other people explain it and talk about it a lot better. But for me, it was a place where I could escape from where I had already been in, because I had learned and expanded so much of myself with knowledge and new information. I was so confused with understanding what I was supposed to know, what I was supposed to do. Why does this not agree with this? Why is someone saying this and someone else is saying this? So moving into a place where there are less people talking about it felt like home. It was a place that took me into a totally different place and unlocked another level, another part of who I was, another deeper layer of who this person is. And it unlocked another new modality. It unlocked another new way to think, another new way to be, another new way to see our existence in a whole different spiritual light. And it was kind of like the opposite of everything else that I've learned. So once I found this new thing, I was like, oh my God, yes, I am Superwoman. I have found everything I need to know. This is exactly who I am. This is that I can sink my teeth into. This is everything I need right now. And of course, like with anything, when you're in a place and you are so confused and you are starting to open these layers up of who you are and you are peeling these pieces off, you get a little bit confused. And you hear people a lot talking about find your own truth, find what feels true for you. The problem with me was the more I was learning, and because so much of it disagreed with another part of it, and I could no longer find a truth within all those different stories. So even though there's a story here and there's a story here and there's a story here, and a lot of the coaches and mentors that I work with will find which one's true for you. Use your energy test, use your truth test. And it's like, it kind of all feel real. And that was confusing for a lot of people, and mostly for myself. It's like, well, what is wrong with me? Why can't I pick one? And it's, oh, you're just too indecisive. Oh, you need more things to heal. Keep digging. You'll find who you are eventually. But what it led me to was, that's not it either. I knew there had to be something different. There had to be another way, because if I'm not agreeing with all this light and I find this dark, but I'm still believing in this light, it's like, ooh, but I can't be both. Can I? And what happened was, eventually earlier in this year, we scattered my husband's ashes, and there was this whole, I'm sure there's a video about it somewhere in here, of this luminescence color that came out from his ashes and the water, etc. It was quite magical, actually, which led me to start developing my own truth. And it wasn't something that someone had told me or someone had said, this is how it is. This is how we were created. This is how we were started. This is what your mission is. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to believe. This was something that I saw in my mind. This was something that I physically experienced. This was something that started to develop within myself. This was something that finally felt like mine. Because before, when we're trying to find our truth, we're trying to find that truth within other people's stories. And it can be super easy to attach to them when so many people are believing in those stories. Because if you have 90% of the existence around you believing in a certain way or a certain thing or a certain process in which to do things, you are going to feel a little bit left out, a little bit weird, a little bit on your own if you don't believe in that, or you don't think that that's right, or you have something that's totally different and no one else around you believes in. So once I had that awareness came in, that was something then I could build on my own. It was no longer me trying to find the voice of someone else that matched to what I want or to what I felt was true, because I can still to this day listen to anyone talk about anything and I can 100% see the truth in that. Does that mean that I attach to it and I make it my story? No. That is their belief that they are holding on to as what they feel is true for them. So the way that I see the luminescent field is something that I have literally created based on an experience that I physically had. It evolved within my mind of where I can see luminescent codes, which I believe are the coded frequencies of ourselves and things around us that we are believing to be what we're made up of. And I'm not going to go down the whole science route, but I've done a lot of learning down the science route, because my logical brain, even though it can attach and listen and feel and understand and know all the spiritual side, it needs that science side to lock it all in. So I will make sure I'm learning from all sides so it all works together. And so there's many different theories that you can look at if you go down the science route of our existence and why we're here, etc. But if you understand or believe or have heard or know about believing that we are the embodiment of whatever this existence is, whether you believe it to be source, to be light, to be God, whatever it is, if you believe in that and you believe that you are either a part of that or you are it and you are just experiencing it on behalf of whatever it is that you believe in, or you know that your viewpoint is like a holographic viewpoint and this one point is seeing all points in the hologram based on the things that we believe or feel or we hold on to. It's not something that you have to attach to in the way that I've now chosen to exist, because I always thought that I needed to hold on to one of those stories in order for me to express, to share, to help others, to create, because I needed that solid foundational piece of who I was. Am I a starseed? Am I this soul in a human that has come from a star race? Am I someone who has come through many different past lives and I'm constantly getting reborn in this existence? Am I just an energetic wave, this particle that just exists because of the way that I am creating my existence based on my thought? I had to learn all of those, and I wanted to find one that would make me understand who I was and why we were here, so I could lock into that and then I could build everything out on that. But all I've discovered is that I don't think any of them is 100% true and correct. I think they are all possibilities. And I also think it's a lot more. And I've had some pretty wild thoughts, but I no longer need to have one that I need to hook into. I don't need a foundational piece to understand what I am, who I am, why I'm here, what I'm doing. Instead, I want to experience what I am experiencing as this 3D human in the best way I can. So without having a foundational piece of whether it's through science or through spirituality, but I do hold them both together and I do use pieces of them to form opinions and to form tools and ideas in the way that we can create and express while we are here living this life. So back into the luminescent field, which is something that has been created from my own mind, my own imagination, I've then decided to create the belief pieced by the information that I've received from multiple sources to decide that we are these energetic beings and we do have a vibrational existence. And I use the words codes. We can use any word you want. It's not going to make a difference. But understanding that these codes or these frequencies or these tones of who we are unique to all of us. And these codes, the way that I see them, they're either as threads or shapes or symbols or colors. And if you align the code of frequencies of who you are as colors, and think about it, if you've ever worked with something like Canva or with color, and you know that how those color codes have their own coded numbers, and you can just change one letter or number and that whole color changes. So if you can imagine that you are made up of all these colored codes and they change every time we decide to change a belief or remove a story or change up the energy within our body or the way we're feeling, or when we experience things, when we create things, when we do things, when we have things, all these different experiences as this 3D human is then going to affect those colors in different ways. They're going to become more brighter. If we are moving towards the deepest expression of who we are and wanting us to be whatever it is we want to be and allow it to come through, as we're doing that, it is literally us just becoming a new person all the time. If you look at it from a science point of view and you understand how cells are always reproducing and how everything is constantly changing, we can do nothing. Even when we're doing nothing at all, we are still changing. So if we still have that automatic function, why don't we make it work for us? Why don't we make it the best that we can make it and do the things that we really want to do, instead of sitting in the sadness and pain and disgust at the way that things aren't working out for us. So this is the long way. I apologize for going on a lot longer than I wanted it to, but this is how the birth of what Surge is now. Surge is a 21-day protocol. It is a rebirth of that money book. This is how it started. This is how the idea started. It's a 3-part book series. That sounds boring, right? You think, all that for that? 3 books? Boring. But they're not like anything else. You have to keep listening to understand where I'm coming from. Like, you might be thinking right now, it's just 3 books. All that for that? Like, come on. There's a million books out there on how to manifest money. I can guarantee you that you're not like mine, because there are 3 key principles. Like, remember, I've already been everywhere. I've learned everything. And oh my goodness, that sentence, that sounds super egotistical, but I can guarantee you that I have learned more than what many, many, many people out there have actually decided to go and learn. And that was purely because of my thirst for knowledge and also my lack of not finding one thing to attach to. So this is where everyone gets to benefit. I have an open mind where I do not attach to one idea or one thing, but when you listen to so many things across the board, you are able to piece together something that you can see as a cohesive sort of average, as something that it's like a common thread through all of it. Because when you start looking at spirituality, or you're looking at religion, or you're looking at science, all of these things are going to boil down to something that is super simple. And even though I like to expand myself with knowledge and to learn as much as I can, eventually I need to bring it all the way back in. So this is what these books are about. And they are 3 books. One is on money, one's on love, and one's all about the body. So it's Money Surge, Love Surge, and Body Surge. And it's going to be based on 3 different principles. And depending on who you are and where you're at and what your codes are, what your color codes are, what your vibration is, what you're believing, what you're holding on as your own truth. You are going to read it and feel it and understand it on totally different levels. But the first key point of these books, and if you saw any of my weird random posts, you would see where I was just writing like a paragraph, like a story, because that is one of the main things that I have found with manifesting anything and with the way that we can create our existence. And that is the art of fucking storytelling, using fantasy. Do you know what we can create with our minds? You think of the most ridiculous story you can. You can literally create anything in your mind if you want to. Anything at all can happen in your brain. Anything, anything, anything. And that is the magic of fantasy. That is the magic of telling a story. And when you go back to manifesting and you look at it in a way of where you were learning it and trying to do it, it becomes really methodical. It becomes a chore. It becomes a task. And we want this existence to be fun. We want this existence to be something that we enjoy. And you can't do that if you're making it boring, if you're making it a chore, if you're just making it something where you have to follow steps. So if we add that layer of fantasy, of storytelling to it, with a twist, I'm getting to that, is going to be so much more fun. Because with fantasy, anything can happen. But the part of fantasy that is going to make it so powerful is the desire that's attached to it. And what I mean by desire, I'm talking about those deep, dark desires. Yes, we're going to go there. Now, part of understanding and being these beings in this 3D reality, we want to make it fun. We want to do things, we want to have things, we want to experience things. Why do we want to have things? Why do we want money? Why do we want to go and do something? It's because we want to feel something. Is it because we want to feel something really shit? No. Is it because we want to feel good? Oh, yeah. We want to do things because it makes us feel good. We want to buy things because it makes us feel good. We want to have relationships because it makes us feel good. We want to look good in the mirror. We want to be healthy because it makes us feel good. What is the most ultimate feeling good feeling? And I know some of you will go, patting an animal or being with a loving partner, blah, blah, blah. Come on. What is the ultimate good feeling that you can feel? And yeah, I'm going to say it. It's when you have an orgasm, right? So that build up towards that moment, that feeling of something that you want, that desire, that drive towards that feeling, which, I don't know, someone can prove me wrong, is the greatest feel-good feeling you can have. That's what you are going to use to bring into the way that you manifest love, the way that you manifest money, and the way that you manifest your body. And don't worry, I'm going to explain all this in the books, but I'm going to do a little bit about what I mean about that right now. You will hear some people talk about holding the tension, and that's pretty much exactly what I'm saying, but you have to get into that feeling of wanting something, of desiring something on such a level that it just makes you feel good.
What do you desire more than anything else in this life?
It's no longer desiring something because you want it to fix something. So there is a different energy between you wanting $10,000 because you have all these bills, or you need to fix things, or you need to do these normal everyday things, versus you wanting $10,000 because that's going to make you feel good, and you're going to buy all these things and they're going to make you feel good. There's a different energy behind those because of the way that you were desiring those things. There's a level of desires that you have that will be hidden from your everyday being. when you go on the journey of healing and spirituality, and I get so sick of saying these words, but from lack of better words, when you do go on that journey and you start releasing all these stories and beliefs, when you start allowing them to dissipate and you no longer hold attachments to anything around particular topics and ideas, the more and more and more of those that you release, the more and more truest essence of who you are. You can call it your soul, you can call it your energetic being, the whoever you are at your absolute core, at the depths of you, will start to show. And I don't know why I did that with sometimes there's no words to describe because it's literally a feeling, because we're these energetic beings, remember? And you can't talk about it. People talk about it and say, yes, I'm in my soul essence. I'm not. I'm telling you, there's more layers to it. There is a deep, dark layer. And I can tell you, as someone who's gone from the light to the dark, and not dark as in, we can talk about the dark for ages and the difference of that. But there is a level of desire, for lack of a better word, it's dark desires, and most people probably won't see them, most people probably won't feel them, but there is a level of them. And like, even as I use those words, I can feel the energetic vibration in my body shift to a different level. It's, and I know the people that you're probably watching me on this person's crazy. What is she talking about? But I'm telling you, there is a level of it. There is a way that you will find it. Okay, let me go and the feeling that I am talking about is when you see something, hear something, or feel something that just hits that chord, that just strikes that tone within you, when it's like, oh, it can be a song, it can be a beat that you hear in a song, it can be the way someone sings and the way that their notes vibrate, it can be something that you look at, it could be a food, it could be the way that you eat something and that taste touches your tongue, it could be a drink, it could be a car, it could be a house. And you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when I'm speaking about this. There are things that are unique to you, and you could be someone over here with all these different labels on you of who you are and what you do, but there will be one piece, there'll be one thing that you think doesn't match to that person that you are. They are those deep, dark desires that you hold within, and you know they're there, and sometimes you don't let them out. They can even be like, I'm going to spruce this all the time, but if you ever watch TikTok, the way TikTok can give you the For You page algorithm, how it can piece those little pieces of you together, is literal magic. So I'm talking about when you're just like watching all your mothering and cooking show videos and you're just sliding through, and then next you've got some thirst trap guy on with the mask on, you're like, damn. They're those pieces that you will find that are your deep desires, even if they don't match your lifestyle or the things that you're doing or the things that you are expressing as you in that moment. They are your deep, dark desires. They could be something totally sexual. They could be something that's so deep and dark that you don't tell anyone else about. They're like, like I have one, and I know no one gets this. There's this particular car that I want, and there is literally a video of me, of when I saw one, wasn't the exact one, but it was close, of me literally squealing like a 3-year-old because I'd seen this car. And that makes no sense. That makes no sense to me, who is someone who's doing all these creative, spiritual things, but the only thing that I want is this car. And the way that the car looks, the way the car sounds, it's like, ugh. And we can't describe those things. They are literal feelings. They are literally something that just changes that energetic vibration of who you are. And if you are listening to me and you have no idea what I'm talking about, and I'm not just talking about those surface things of saying, oh, this is a nice cup, I'd like another cup that looks like this or something, that it's deeper and darker. And when you see it and feel it and know it, you will get there. And if you haven't experienced that, you may still have a lot of those emotional layers or stories on top of you that are not allowing that to come through. And for me, there's even certain beats in songs that just hit that target and you're like, that's it. It's the way it speaks to you, and it's going to be unique to you. And it could be something totally left field. It could be something that absolutely makes no sense to anyone else, but it is your desires, and you could have lots of them. You could just have one of them, but they're your desires that are deep and dark and within yourself that you hide from the external. You think that they don't match with the part of who you are. But they're the things that need to come up. They're the things that are going to drive you. They are the ones that are going to give you that desire and drive to create the storytelling and the fantasy piece of these things when we try to manifest. So these are one of the one things that these will be the one of 3 different things that I'm explaining in these 3-book series. It is that deep, dark desire and using it to create a fantasy and tell a story around those things that you want. And the reason why we need to have a story with it, why we need to have something built around the thing that we want, is if we don't have a story, it doesn't exist. It doesn't matter what you believe in, whether it's spirituality, religion, science. If we don't have a story, it does not exist. I always use pens for my video because they're the easiest thing to grab. But this pen, right? This is a pen. How do we know it's a pen? Well, we spell it pen, P-E-N. Where does that come from? We learned the alphabet. We learned how to speak. We learned how to create sounds. We are calling it, I don't know, it's like an aqua, green, blue. How do we know that? We were taught colors. What does it do? It writes. How do we know that? Because we've experienced it. How did it come into being? It was manufactured. It was manufactured by a company who owns it. Someone designed it. All these different layers of this thing is what's holding that in place. If it didn't have a name, if we weren't able to identify its color, if we weren't able to talk about what it did or where it came from or how it came to be, it wouldn't exist. It needs that story behind it for it to exist. And that's one of the main things we're going to teach you in these books across those 3 big topics, but in totally different ways. It's not the way that you think, for your money, love, and your body. Second piece of the way that these books work together is how I want you to lose everything you already know. Whether it is spirituality that you believe in, where there's a particular story, a particular myth, an idea, whatever it is, whether it's science, whether it's religion, if you dropped all of that and just allowed yourself to understand who you are, what you know, and what you feel, and unattach yourself from all of those things, and see what evolves, see what comes up. And by dropping them, I don't mean like, oh, no, I can never talk about that. I can never believe in that. It's losing the attachment to it. One thing I found from everything I've learned, and from most people out there who teach things, who share their knowledge, and this is what they do, everyone can do what they want. But for me, what I notice is when people tell us, you must do it this way. It has to be done this way. You cannot do it any other way. No. There's a lot of things that I don't attach to. I don't attach to people telling me how to do something. I don't believe that there is only one way to do anything. And if anyone is telling me that there is only one way, I'm out. Yes, have your beliefs, have your knowings in things that you have achieved and you have succeeded with, and you do have results. Sure, share that, but don't tell me that's the only way. And that's what I want you to feel into. That's what I want you to open your mind to, is if you let go of everything that you thought and you didn't attach, you didn't create this full belief that this was one way and it is the only way and that's it, where would you be? What would you think of? What would you do? How would you react to things? How would you respond to things? So we will be going through that in some version differently for each of those books based on that. I'm a firm believer in being as open as you can to as many things as possible, because at the end of the day, I don't think anyone really knows the answer to anything. We just use the knowledge that we have in order to create the belief of whatever it is we want to be true in that moment. So if you can detach yourself from that and release yourself from being so caught up in this is the only way, I am telling you, your life is going to get so much easier and so much more fun. And then the third part that we're going to talk about in these books, now this is the protocol part. This is the original setup of how the first book was created. It was learning all the things and then doing all the things. Same process. In the end, there is a 21-day protocol, and it will be different for each of the three books because they're three different topics and we're talking about three totally different things. Will be things for you to get you into the habit. And yes, I'm using some boring ass basic tools that you can use to help you manifest or to create these desires that we're going to create with these results that you are going to get. You could look at that and think, oh, that doesn't match with anything that you just said. There is a reason. Yes, I work very eclectically. Things don't make sense to a lot of people. I get it. I understand it. But that's the whole point. This is what I want to create. I want to create a space where even though you think these things don't match or they're not going to work together, they do. It's the part of the way that I function the best, is having these different pieces in these different moments that do different things in order to create the things we want, but not in the ways that you think they're going to be created. And this is how we create anyway, is through listening to our codes and our frequencies and creating from that space of not seeing where these things match up. So these 21 days will be a list of some basic tools that you probably already know, that you've probably been doing for years, and you'll be rolling your eyes and go, oh my God, what? But that's not the point of it. The point, well, there's a few different points. I always do things in layers. There's always lots of layers going on to one action. But the thing with this book is not just to give you something to do for 21 days, because we know, unfortunately, these humans need us to do things for a period of time in order for us to make changes. And so when I'm bringing in brand new ideas and new thoughts, it is very easy for you to listen, go, oh yeah, blah, 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 and then forget about it tomorrow. But using that tied with some super easy basic tools that anyone can do that don't take much time to help you manifest is going to get you into that new mindset and attach those things that you already know to these new ideas. Because if I just gave you all these new things to do, sure, you may feel them and think about them and do them for a little while, but they won't sync as well. But attaching them to regular things that you may already be doing or you have done before, there's going to be a remembrance to that, and it's going to allow you to have those, hopefully, have a better effect and help you really sort of embody these things a little bit more. And the other whole thing is too, at the end of 21 days, you're going to pat yourself on the back, because if you are anything like me, you're going to go, oh my goodness, 21 days. Yeah, that's not happening. You will be so good for a week and then you'll forget. But if you get through those 21 days, that is something that you can celebrate, and then you can continue on. You can do it as many times as you want, but it is there as a tool to help you just sort of really open your mind to the new things that I'm talking about, as well as get you into a new mindset, which is the whole main goal of these books, is to manifest the things that you want: the money, the love, and the body. And if you made it this far, I am so grateful. I do hope you have learned something different, or open your mind, or started thinking about something in a different way. But I'm telling you, the books are going to have a lot more information. I'm not here to follow up with selling you something. I do have a wait list that you can hop onto, so you know when the first book is going to be released, which will be in the next few weeks. Next month, the second book will be coming out, and then in December, the third book. So if you are someone who's interested in those books, they are 100% designed to be in that order. We're starting with money because money is a tangible object, and it's something that everyone wants and everyone can look at in so many different ways. So I wanted to start there. The second book is about relationships and love, but it's not in the way that you think. It's not about, I'm going to manifest the man or woman of my dreams. It's more of understanding who you are and getting to love yourself first in order to attract those things to you. And the third book is all about having health. And even though we may surfacely want, oh, I just want to be hot, it's more of getting the insides healthy. And in order to do that, yes, we need to work on all that shit that we're holding on inside. So I do recommend that you do those books in orders, because of course there's going to be that whole 21-day protocol to do with them as well. So if you want to hop on the mailing list so you know when they're coming out, please do. There will be links here below. My whole idea and the reason that this has come about is, well, many different reasons, but mostly because I want people to start thinking for themselves. I want people to start being themselves. I want people to get up every day knowing that the things that they want, that they truly, truly, truly want, are either here or they're on their way, that they are excited to jump out of bed in the morning, that they love themselves exactly as they look. They love everything around them. They are desiring things that they want. They are listening to the codes and the voices within them, and they are bringing them forward, and they are allowing them to exist in their reality. And they're no longer attaching themselves to these stories that people have given them that they need to believe, and they're creating their own stories. They're creating their own realities. They are bringing their own life to them, instead of thinking that they need to pull these pieces of things that they can already see outside. My underlying whole tone to everything is being and creating yourself from the inside out. And these books together with that, knowing that you are meant for more, that you want to be more, and everything else that you've learned and everything else that you're doing is just not cutting it. And to get to a place where you feel comfortable and safe and in that pure knowingness of how amazing you are, and how this is your own reality, and how you can literally create it and have every single thing you want. And even when you may not even physically see it, you are feeling it already in your body through your vibration, through your desire, and through just knowing that it's already here. But honestly, get on the wait list. The way that I operate, things will probably happen. Like if you get on the wait list, something really cool could happen. You could get something free, something extra. I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but hop on if you want. If not, I do invite you to follow me across social media as someone who is a creator. I do not follow strategies or ideas. So I turn up where I turn up with the information that I want to share. But I know these books are going to be amazing. And I know if you're already turned off, you didn't make it to this far, you're not going to hear this. But books are cool, man. Like, Words are amazing. It's time to surge. Money surge, love surge, body surge. If you have any questions, put them in the bottom, message me, find me on social media, book a free chat. I'm sure I have a link for that somewhere. There's going to be so much more coming because I know these books are literally creating themselves at the moment. And I'm really excited to see what else comes from them. If you take away one thing from this, go and find what your deep, dark desire is and start focusing on that. And if anyone's still sticking around, did you notice I put less pictures up here? I was trying to be less distracting. It's hard when you got a blue wall though, right? It's like, how do you hide a blue wall? Okay, now I'm just rambling. Who am I talking to? I'm literally just talking to myself. Oh my God. Okay, enjoy your day. I'm still who am I talking to? Oh God, okay, end. And if you made it this far, I'm so grateful. And I think I've already said that. If you like books, I mean, just go on Book Talk. Like, come on, there's so many amazing things out there. I know that kind of feels like a cringy intro, right? Okay, so let's go.